Welcome to Wobbles on Wire. Today, we're talking about P. Ramasamy's recent remarks regarding academic standards at the International Islamic University Malaysia. And it's quite the debate brewing here. Really fascinating because it puts institutional reputation squarely against academic freedom. And it all kicked off because of this one. Well, frankly, jaw-dropping historical claim. The idea that the ancient Romans, masters of the Mediterranean Sea, didn't actually figure out shipbuilding on their own, or learn it from the Greeks or Phoenicians, as we usually think. No, the claim is they learned it from the people of the Malay Archipelago, thousands of miles away. I mean, that's a pretty revolutionary idea. It definitely makes you stop and think, right? Demands a serious look.
It absolutely does. And the sheer scale of that claim is precisely why P. Ramasamy got involved. He's the chairman of the United for the Rights of Malaysians party.
Right.
And for him, this isn't just some, interesting theory to bat around. He's quite adamant that the International Islamic University Malaysia needs to stop treating it so lightly.
So what's he proposing?
He's demanding they set up a professional external investigative panel immediately to figure out if this assertion has any basis in actual historical fact, any at all.
Okay, so he's not just asking for, like, a discussion or a paper refuting it. He wants a formal investigation, independent panel. That's a big institutional step.
It is. It means pulling in outside experts, putting university resources into it. It forces the university to kind of submit its internal matters to external academic judgment in a way.
And does he say who should be on this panel?
Oh, yes. He's very specific about that, which is key here. He insists it needs recognized experts, international and national ones, people specializing in ancient history, archaeology, maritime studies, the relevant fields.
Makes sense.
Because the goal isn't just to debate it. The goal, as he sees it, is strictly methodological. Does the claim hold up against actual evidence, verifiable findings?
But before we go further, we should probably just underscore how unexpected this claim is. Romans learning shipbuilding from Southeast Asia.
It fundamentally flips the script on classical history.
Exactly. The standard view is Roman shipbuilding evolved in the Mediterranean, building on Phoenician, Egyptian, Greek knowledge, right there in their neighborhood, basically.
Moving the source thousands of miles east. That's a tectonic shift, historically speaking.
Yeah.
And Ramasamy also pointed out, didn't he, that the lecturer making the claim is from the Department of Arabic Studies.
He did. Which isn't to say someone from Arabic studies can't research maritime history, obviously.
Of course not. But Ramasamy highlighted it, likely to raise questions about, the specific expertise needed, ancient maritime archaeology, historical linguistics connecting Rome and the Malay Archipelago. That's complex stuff requiring very specialized skills.
Which ties into his main criticism, doesn't it?
Yeah.
His issue with how the university first reacted.
Precisely. The International Islamic University Malaysia initially just brushed it off, called it a personal opinion of the lecturer.
And Ramasamy found that completely unacceptable in an academic context.
Right. He sees that personal opinion label as, well, maybe a way institutions sometimes try to shield themselves, protect themselves from having to officially contradict their staff, avoid maybe complicated HR issues, or just keep controversy at bay. It's like an administrative defense mechanism.
But Ramasamy's argument is that defense doesn't work here.
Exactly. He makes a very clear distinction. He says, look, whether you like tea or coffee, that's a personal opinion, fine.
Okay.
But a statement made publicly in an academic setting asserting a specific historical fact like Romans getting ship tech from Southeast Asia that can't just be waved away as personal belief.
It needs scrutiny.
It demands scrutiny, a rigorous academic scrutiny. Ramasamy argues that any claim touching on history, science, archaeology, it needs evidence. It can't just be protected under the umbrella of personal opinion. He sees the university's initial response as a failure, basically, to uphold its own academic standards.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a second. Isn't Ramasamy basically asking the university to, invite critics in to potentially debunk and maybe even discipline its own staff member?
That's certainly one way to look at it.
Couldn't that set a tricky precedent? I mean, if every bold or controversial academic idea gets immediately slapped with an external investigation, doesn't that risk stifling genuinely new, maybe even paradigm-shifting research? What about academic freedom?
That is the core tension, isn't it? It's a dilemma universities everywhere face. Ramasamy's stance seems to be that accountability has to come first when a claim like this, presented as potential fact, enters the public domain under the university's name.
So freedom isn't absolute in his view.
He seems to argue that academic freedom isn't the freedom to just say anything without backing it up. It's the freedom to pursue truth using accepted methods.
And what would those methods look like here?
Well, presumably things like presenting ancient texts that support the claim, showing archaeological data, maybe shipwrecks, carbon dating, something concrete. Peer-reviewed analysis linking Malay shipbuilding techniques directly to Roman practices, actual verifiable stuff.
So, thinking bigger picture,
Yeah.
what does Ramasamy think this means for Malaysian academia generally?
Yeah.
Is this just about one university, one claim?
No, he definitely frames it as something bigger. He believes setting up this panel, openly and transparently, is vital for the integrity of the entire academic field in Malaysia. It's about setting a standard.
How so?
Well, he argues that if the panel investigates and finds the claim is, say, speculative or lacks solid evidence, then the university needs to take action. Disciplinary or corrective measures against the lecturer.
It sounds harsh.
But he doesn't frame it purely as punishment. He sees it as establishing a clear precedent, a way to prevent future, let's say, unverified, or as he put it, absurd statements from potentially damaging the reputation of Malaysian research overall.
And it's tied to the university's image, too, on the world stage.
Absolutely. He directly links forming this panel to the International Islamic University Malaysia's global reputation. He says it shows they're committed to accountability, willing to move past a sort of defensive stance.
Like showing they prioritize truth over just protecting their own.
Exactly. Demonstrating they'll systematically review claims made by their staff based on evidence, not just institutional convenience or comfort.
To kind of drive home this point about needing solid evidence in ancient history, Ramasamy shared a personal story, didn't he?
Yes, quite a relevant one. From his time as a senior fellow back at the Institute of Southeast Asian Studies in Singapore, this was between 2006 and 2008, they were organizing a big international conference on the Chola dynasty.
The Cholas, powerful South Indian empire, known for their navy around the 11th century.
That's them. And Ramasamy was involved in trying to figure out exactly what kind of ships the Cholas used for their major voyages into Southeast Asia during that period.
Sounds straightforward enough for historical research.
You'd think so. But despite a lot of effort for this major conference, they found it incredibly difficult to definitively identify the specific type of Chola ship. The evidence was just sparse.
Really, even for a relatively well-documented empire like the Cholas.
Apparently so. And he tells the specific story where he'd picked out a photo of a ship, thinking it was Chola, to use for the conference publication cover.
Okay.
He ran it by a French maritime expert there in Singapore, just to be sure, and the expert told him, no, that's actually a Javanese ship.
Oh, wow. So even the experts could get it wrong, or the evidence was ambiguous.
Precisely. And he said even at the conference itself, the leading scholars couldn't agree on what exactly constituted the Chola ship type. People had ideas, but definitive proof was lacking.
So what was his takeaway from that experience?
His point was that it's just incredibly easy for researchers, even specialists, to jump to conclusions when dealing with ancient history, especially when the evidence is limited or open to interpretation.
Exercise caution.
Extreme caution and maybe a dose of humility. If identifying an 11th century ship type was that hard, imagine the level of rigor needed for a claim linking ancient Rome to Southeast Asia.
Right.
His final word on it was pretty blunt. In academia, personal opinion means nothing without the backing of solid research, sound methodology, and verifiable data. You just can't overstep the evidence.
So bringing it all back, Ramasamy's core message seems to be, no matter how strange or even outlandish a claim might sound,
if it's presented in an academic context by university staff,
the institution, in this case the International Islamic University of Malaysia, has a responsibility to verify it properly.
Yes, that verification process through an independent panel, as he demands, is essential. It's about maintaining the university's academic integrity. It's about reaffirming that their pursuit of knowledge is based on evidence, not just speculation or, interesting ideas floated without proof. The stakes are high for their credibility.
So it really comes down to this fundamental tension. Ramasamy is pushing hard for this independent investigation to uphold what he sees as essential academic standards. The university, at least initially, seemed to lean on academic freedom protecting the lecturer's view. So we put it to you, the listener. Where do you think the line should be drawn? Does the need for stringent, evidence-based academic standards override academic freedom when such significant historical claims are made publicly by someone affiliated with the university? Or does demanding such investigations risk chilling bold new thinking? What's the right balance? Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.